Great. So, Dominique, I think we are live. Um,
Woo!
Dominique Silva, it's been such a pleasure getting to know you. You reached out to me a few months ago about this new series that you just launched early in June called Healthy Home Habits. And
Yeah.
so, our mutual passion for creating a healthy home and empowering people to realize that their home actually participates in their health and well-being brought us together.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I loved, so I was so happy that you reached out to me and you interviewed me a few weeks ago, and that interview actually airs tomorrow. And
Yeah.
we'll talk at the end of this little recording how viewers can listen and watch that video. But
Mhm.
afterwards, we talked about how you got on this journey, more of your background, and I wanted to just share that with
Yes.
people in my community. And so you said you started out working for NASA, is that correct?
That is true. Yeah, I got my bachelor's in environmental and occupational health. So if people look me up and see EOHexplorations.com, that EOH is for the environmental and occupational health. Yeah, I mean that's really why I started off. I did mostly on the environmental side, managing air resources programs. So that's how I started out. But then I ended up in the private industry, working just more with actually just all of the what environmental health and safety is, which is just promoting health in the safety of employees and just overall environment. So it's really just getting to the interconnectedness of how we are connected to the earth and how where we spend the most of our time is connected to our health. And it's been an amazing journey of just taking what I've learned professionally into what I do at home, and just really applying. Gosh, I mean, I've struggled, Sophia. You know that we talked about that in an earlier call, just of um, struggling with skin issues, struggling with just stress and extreme fatigue, and all of these things that I would look and say, "Gosh, I'm so young. I shouldn't be dealing with these issues. What's wrong?" And go
So
into the
more specifically, how old, like around how old were you and what kind of skin issues? Because a lot of people have different skin issues.
Oh yeah. So gosh, I mean, from my teen years, I remember going to dermatologists, going to allergists. I would have just rashes all over and just random places in my body. I struggled with very severe psoriasis of the scalp. Just things like that, and then just getting, I would say, 8, 9 hours of sleep and waking up feeling exhausted, very heavy periods, lots of, um, yeah, just allergy issues, and so it just really started to get me to well, I mean, as a teenager, my mom took me to these doctors, and it was, oh, here's this cream, here's this pill. And stop wearing jeans was another recommendation from an allergist that
Did that help?
further saying it was, hey, that might be contact dermatitis, but there was no diving into the root cause of the issue. So that's really where a lot of this fire came from, was I want to understand the why. There has to be a reason. And we'll get into, that's really a huge motivation of the Healthy Home Habit Summit.
So, what changes did you make that started to help your symptoms?
Oh yeah, well, for one, I changed my diet. I did go vegan. I started, let's see, about 10 years ago. I did pescatarian, I did vegetarian, and then I really did phase into veganism, which has really helped me. I My periods actually have been. Ooh, I mean, we can take a poll with my husband. We can take a poll with my husband, because I mean, just my moods have been better. They've been lighter. dread severe pain having to take off work. I would have to miss school back in the day because they were so severe. So tackling my diet for sure, increasing my water intake and reducing my stress with meditation and just finding ways to move more have really helped me.
What do you think, in hindsight, why do you think so many things improved with a change in diet? Was it
Ooh,
hormones in meat or chemicals like pesticides?
oh Oh yeah, well, I started to definitely buy organic with the things that I could. Not everything is available organic where I was living at the time. So I would have to I would use the EWG resource very often to just kind of filter out, okay, what has the most pesticides? What should I really be buying organic? And really just decide from there. But I mean, I think I was a very heavy dairy eater of cheese. And I mean, I thought, oh my gosh, I could never go vegan because I can't give up the cheese. But when you really think about what's in cheese and the hormones, and meat wasn't really an issue since I had stopped eating many types of meat many years ago, but I still ate fish for a long time. So I think about just the metal overload on my body and the pesticide and herbicide overload on my body. I mean, my skin was telling me that there's something wrong. And I think that we see these issues within our bodies and we recognize something's off, but then there's been really, I talk about this a lot on the summit, the normalization of feeling unwell, of when you don't feel all that great and you just kind of say, oh, gosh, that must just be a sign of the times. I'm getting older, or acne and skin problems are a part of life. And I want to encourage people to ask the questions, to really look at the lifestyle and see what changes can be made to make those improvements, because it helps. It really does.
So what did you notice after you start cutting down or cutting out dairy? Did you notice improvements within days or weeks,
Oh,
years?
oh yeah. Well, I would say, gosh, as a kid, I struggled very much with constipation, bloating, digestive issues, really, really hardcore. And I'd ask my mom, "Well, what is it?" And she would tell me stories. You used to go into the refrigerator and steal cheese out there and just be eating it in the middle of the night. And when I really removed that from my diet, I'm telling you, I mean, my stomach, I didn't feel that constant bloating, the pain, the discomfort of literally sitting on the toilet feeling like, is it gonna happen? And I mean, that's stressful. That's really stressful. And so that takes me back to the stress of it all would also cause me to break out more, would cause my skin to react and tell me, hey, something's off. So it's all connected. It really is.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so you probably felt better pretty quickly after you
Yeah.
cleaned up your diet.
Hmm.
Um,
But
so
stress is still something that I work on, that I have to manage every day. And with everything that's going on right now, it is it's very scary.
yeah,
It's a fearful time for a lot of people.
yeah, I do want to talk to you. Let's check in on what's going on now and how we're processing things. But before we do that, before I lose my train of thought, you also mentioned you would wake up feeling tired. Did
Hmm.
you know? Do you still wake up feeling tired?
I've learned that I have to be, when I'm really mindful. As of now, I will say that this is an interesting time to ask that question, just because I'm in the middle of putting the summit together. And so some of my nights I'm up a little bit later. I'm looking at the computer a little bit later than I should. But really, before the summit, I say I had gotten into a really good routine of going to bed at the same time, waking up around the same time, to where I'd get up, and I guess I would definitely have more energy only when I switched my routine, my bedtime routine at night. So just really doing self-care, in, towards the end of the night, turning off electronics, wearing blue blocker glasses um, to help with the artificial light from all the technology, not eating too late or drinking beverages too late. Yeah, it really is a shift in how you go about your life when you want to see positive changes happen too. So I find that I have been sleeping so much better right now.
Yeah.
It's a different story just because times are different, but I have noticed a huge difference in how I wake up with more energy.
So that's great that
Yeah.
you know the set of strategies that help you sleep better. So, I mean, you can't do that every night of your life, but it's nice to know what works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And shutting off the Wi-Fi, I actually did notice that that was something that was a big contributor. See, you can't hear, you don't know is disrupting sleep. But when I started to do that, that was something that
So, did you notice
I
that?
felt.
Did you notice improvement right away the first night after you turned Wi-Fi off for sleep, or did it take a
Um,
while?
I can't say that I noticed it right away just because I sleep pretty quickly, but my husband really struggles with falling asleep and staying asleep, and he's been reaping the benefits, very much
Wow.
so. Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
Wow, that's interesting.
He's coming by right now. I'm sorry to whip up a protein shake, I think. So
That's
I don't
okay.
think you'll be able to see him. It's all good.
That's
Hey,
okay.
you're on live.
That's okay. We can pause for him to make a shake. Um,
No,
so
it's totally fine.
yeah, in a little while, my battery is draining fast, so I'm going to have to plug this in. But let's talk about what it's like now in this environment. We have so much overwhelming change and disruption. First, COVID-19 disrupted our world, and I think there are so many opportunities that can come from disruption. That's actually a big part of that was my a lot of what I focused on before health and wellness. It was
Yes.
distressed investing, and while there's devastation that has come with COVID-19, I think that a lot of time at home and less travel and just more time to be aware of a lot that we overlooked when we were really busy
Mm-hmm.
can be really valuable.
Yeah.
And then with Ahmaud Arbery's murder and George Floyd's murder, it it feels like while it's really, really painful and devastating, it's also just bringing to light things that have been existing for a long time that there wasn't as much awareness of. And we are each minorities
Mm-hmm.
and female. I'm just wondering, how has it been for you?
Yes. It's been challenging. It really has been, just to see certain, I mean, murders being captured on video, and the uprise, and it's hit pretty close to where I live, and seeing the protests. And this one feels different, though. It feels more united in the sense of, it's not just Black people out there saying we deserve better, we matter. It is so many groups of people, ethnicities, different belief systems, whatever, coming together and saying, hey, this is something needs to change. And there's a lot of digging deep into the history of just, this is not new. For a long time, a little bit, a lot, with even putting this summit out there at a time like this. And I had to take a step back and say, oh no, this is for my people. This is for anyone. This is for positivity and for healing. And this is what we need. We need to be educated and have the access to the information that is going to promote the change. And so I continued on with putting out the interviews, just because it's very personal, dear to me. I've gone back to work. Um, Actually, this would be my first week going back, and it's been tough because I'm the only Black woman there, and it's difficult to feel like there aren't
How
other
is that for
people.
you, being the only
Yeah.
Black woman there? Is it? I imagine it's something you're aware of a lot more than maybe your colleagues.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can feel that I'm a Black woman every day, but it's only at times like this where that's put on display for other people to see. And so I mean it has been it's been rough to feel like I'm alone when I go into work and there isn't anyone who can really relate to what I'm going through. There can be empathy and all of these things, but the conversations are going to get difficult, and I just hope that people understand that that's a very necessary difficulty. I mean, it can't be glossed over, overlooked any longer. And so I know what it feels like to have a cop pull up behind me. And even though I'm doing everything right, to feel, I mean, physiologically, I change. My heart starts pumping faster. Even talking about it, I feel nervous. I feel like, am I going to get in trouble? Even though I know that I'm doing absolutely nothing wrong. I want to turn and make a quick right or left just so that they won't be behind me anymore. I can't expect for my coworkers to feel that same experience as me, even a work related. I'll just give an example of a police interaction. I manage environmental health and safety programs. So part of the safety, just the whole training was to put on a workplace violence active shooter training and to coordinate that with the police department. And so I was the one working very closely with the officer who was doing the threat mitigation training and everything like that. And I had to direct him to the next building, and he had to hop in his police truck and follow me in my car to the next building. And that feeling, even though I had met him, we talked, we're going over what the training was going to be, and that feeling was still within me. That feeling of, oh my gosh, in the rear view as a cop, what do I do? um, those feelings are very real, and I can't compare it to being on the ground saying I can't breathe and having people watch um, you know, something so devastating.
Do you
So
feel do you feel like, and I'm sorry, I this is going to be a little distracting, but my battery's about to die and I don't want
that's
to
okay.
lose you. So we're going to move a little bit, but I
Yeah,
want you.
this is meant to be the real deal. So batteries die. It's all good.
Batteries die. This is live. We're being brave and trying
In the meantime,
something new. Um,
yeah.
I'm wondering, you talked about, okay, I'm just going to plug in and resettle. Um, okay. You talked about a physiological change. Is that based on past experiences or just like stories you heard to be careful?
um, I'd say a combination of both. I grew up in the inner city, mid city of Los Angeles, LA, native, and I mean, in my neighborhood, it there was gang violence. There was just it's this fear that, hey, if the police roll by, they're not here to protect you. They're here to um, protect other people who don't look like us. So if that means taking you out, then that's what that means. So I didn't grow up with a positive um, just view of cops coming to save me. If the cops are being called and I'm in the room hearing that, I'm trying to leave so that I don't have to stay when or be here when they show up. And then, of course, just hearing of all of the just of all the violence. I mean, when you do your homework and see what the police force is rooted in, to police people, Black and brown people. I mean, it has a very deep history of of things that I don't support. But I definitely understand that it's not. There's a systemic problem, a
Right.
way that uh, that needs to be addressed, or things that needs to be addressed in several ways. It's going to take a long time. It's taken a long time for us to get here, and it's going to take a long time for us to really trace back and figure out where the biggest issues are.
For sure. And everybody really needs to do their own work and I think learn more about our history to really understand what's going on now. And
Yes.
it will help to learn history from different viewpoints.
That's important
That's
because
really important, which I've
history
just
is
realized. And so thank you for being
uh
brave enough to talk about this. I know it's probably uncomfortable. I mean, it takes a lot of courage to be live, and to talk about this is takes courage too. And I just want to ask if there's anything that you wish more people knew that could help. And as you think about that, a couple things stand out in my mind. In the past, I've worked in lots of environments that were mostly male and mostly white male. And I remember one time I was leaving work a little bit early, but it was like 7 p.m. and that was early. And a male colleague was walking out. We were leaving the building together, and he asked, "Oh, where are you off to?" And I said, "Oh, a yoga class." And we're chatting. And I said, "Oh, have you ever been to a yoga class?" And he looked like he said, "No, I'd be the only guy." And I said, "Well, imagine what it's like for me at work every day. I'm the only female." And
Mm-hmm.
it was so interesting for me because I didn't know my normal was to be the only female in a male dominated environment. And it took me many, many years to recognize how uncomfortable it was because that was my normal. And it was only many years later into my career when I had a moment where I worked with a more diverse company and more female leaders. And only then did I sort of breathe, like my whole body just relaxed in a different way because it was more familiar. And only then could I look back in hindsight and realize how uncomfortable it had been to be the only female. But I didn't know any different. And I think that maybe can help some people listening to realize when you grow up not fitting in, then you can't really recognize or articulate what's uncomfortable.
Yes. Yeah. Oh man. Well, to answer your question, gosh, what can people do? Did you say more of, or just to help? Um, Gosh, I think a lot of people can. It really helps to just be still. I think I know that may maybe sound a little strange, but just you don't. I don't think that there's always some things are best left unsaid. There's not, for me at least. I feel like I don't need to always. I guess I'll just rephrase. I just want people to be curious. I want people to be curious about whatever the situation is. Be curious that you could very well be privileged in many ways. Be curious about, yeah, just the childlike curiosity that we all used to have. I mean, and It's funny. I mean, I've been thinking a lot about, I mean, when we're children, we don't, we're the kids who play with all the other kids, no matter what they look like. We are humans, human beings, and we are spiritual beings, and we are all connected in that way, no matter what we look like. And so I think people just need to be curious and open, and be willing to be wrong about something. It's okay to be wrong and acknowledge and say, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know." And I'm sorry for the role that I may have played. Now I understand, and now I'm willing to take steps to make a change. It's not going to happen overnight, and I just think we have a long way to go. So all of the supporters, everyone, all of the businesses who are jumping on board, saying we are with you. I want the action to follow. I want the money to be put where the mouths are. Do you know what I mean? For the gaps in the access to healthcare and to the information and to the quality jobs and to the just basic human rights. Um, I want less of the talking, more of the doing, and really just being open to helping in any way that you can, and that starts with you. That starts here, and I think that starts with people not being so judgmental of themselves, because whatever you got going on in here, that's what you're giving to the world. So it starts a lot with emotional intelligence and realizing that you have control over how you respond to whatever the situation is.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I'm going to ask
A
you
huge
some.
part of
I'm sorry, we got delayed.
what's that?
I think there was a little
Yeah.
pause and delay. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, that's okay. Yeah. I don't know what the last part you got. I just mentioned emotional intelligence and
Yeah.
uh, the importance of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got that, and I wholeheartedly agree that when we can learn to be more forgiving and kind and loving to ourselves, then that ends up being translated into everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I'll ask that I've been wondering about, and then we'll move on, is the hashtag Black Lives Matter. Like, I always feel so strange when I write it because I'm thinking all lives matter. And
Right.
when I got upset watching the news about George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, I mean, I was just so upset that human beings could be cruel to other human beings. Like, to me, it wasn't even really I know this is a race thing, but I also feel like all life forms are precious. So it blows my mind that human beings can act this way. Did you have that reaction, or do you have a different, because I'm not black, so I don't really know.
Well, a big part of what that hashtag Black Lives Matter means is, yes, all lives matter, but that's not what we're saying. We're just wanting the acknowledgement to add Black people into the all lives matter, because right now we're on the outskirts, and there's a lot of,
So,
yes, all
so
lives
you got
matter,
a
but
little cut
this
off
isn't happening
after
to all lives.
you got a little cut
Oh
off
yeah.
after you
Oh,
said that you've been on the outskirts.
yes, yeah. So all lives do matter, and I want to be clear about that. But there's a specific there's specific groups of people who have been on the outskirts of all of those lives, and so we're just asking to be demanding to be included in all of those other lives who also matter. We never said all lives don't matter.
Right.
We're just saying Black lives do. And this is, it's about time that we acknowledge, um, that we are equal. We are not beneath, we are not above. We just want to be here. So I
Thank,
think, yeah, that's
thank you. I think I'm not the only one to feel like I didn't realize, and I feel I'm afraid to say this, but I didn't realize Black people felt like Black lives didn't matter and that they were on the outskirts of that. Like, to me, that's a big aha
yeah.
statement.
I mean, it's just like how you felt, how you feel, how I also feel being a woman in a male dominated workforce. Um, Imagine that. And also being a Black woman. It's, I mean, I'm not taking away the fact that, you know, you of your culture or anything like that, but just with the times of today,
Totally.
and just the comment that I made of feeling on the outskirts, yeah, it just rings true with being a Black woman. You know, so I want to be able to hop on to, especially for this healthy home habit show, to show my vibrant personality, my love, my positivity, because the moment I start, you know, speaking truth or speaking about some of the things that we're talking about, and it's uncomfortable, then I'm, oh, you're that angry Black woman. Oh, okay. So I just want to, I want to help people to just, you know, open their eyes, change their perspective, and really not put everybody in a box of how you expect them to be based on what, and we're all products of our environment, Sophia. And that's why talking about how our environment impacts our health is so important.
Yeah, and I think that this pillar of our lives right now, with what's going on in the greater environment, is so relevant to having a healthy home, because
Mm-hmm.
home should be a safe haven. It should be where we can be still,
Mm-hmm.
where we can reflect, we can check in, we can sort, we can get grounded and find a way to become our best selves.
Mm-hmm.
So, what inspired you to create the Healthy Home Habits series or summit that
Yeah.
is going on now? And like,
Okay.
how, when did it start? How many experts do you have? How can people tune in and
All
support
right,
it?
a little rundown. Okay, well, I mean, many of the reasons that I shared before, just my own health struggles, showing up to the doctor's office with my notebook full of questions and feeling like they didn't care, feeling like I'm expressing all of these issues, and why can't you be a part of, help me be, just find solutions. Or spend enough time with me to convince me that you even want to know what's really going on, and just leaving feeling like there's got to be more, feeling fired up about uh, getting answers to my questions, and then of course my background in environmental health and safety, just really connecting the dots and saying, oh my gosh, wow, we're all connected and there's so much that is within our control. What can I do um, to get some of my own questions answered.
So how
And
did
so
you
that's
do
really,
that? I mean, you did your
yeah.
own research. It sounds like you
Hmm.
you weren't around physicians who had, I mean, most physicians are not trained to understand how environmental exposures or even nutrition affects health. So it's not like
Yeah,
they're bad or negligent. It's just not part of their training. So
exactly.
how did you empower yourself?
Yeah, well, that was part of what I learned, was like, oh my gosh, they really just don't know, and uh, blaming, accepting more responsibility, and doing my own research, and then making the changes that I could, making swaps for personal care products. I switched my hair care products to, now I don't struggle with severe dandruff and psoriasis, like, at all. And it's like such a beautiful experience to
So
not,
do you think the
you know,
psoriasis was because of the products you were using? Because people have asked
oh,
me about
absolutely.
psoriasis.
Oh, absolutely. My skin, one side, I used to use Ash Eco Styler Gel, just a bunch of stuff that had you flip over the label and then along I started to look up, on the EWG website, just some of the correlations between the ingredients and the symptoms I was experiencing, and a lot of allergens and just, skin irritations and things that our scalp is skin that it was reacting to. And when I removed that and swapped it for my DIY flaxseed gel, it was gone. I mean, I don't struggle with those issues anymore. So when I started to see that I could make those changes, then it just led me to do more research, and to the point where I was like, hey, there's other people who know more than I do and who've gone through their own health journeys. Let me reach out. And with COVID-19 going on, I mean, just having more time on my hands to really take something I'm already passionate about, something I'm already doing, and just compile it with other people who are already doing the work too. So that led to you, that led to 20 other experts who are really all under this umbrella of health. I mean, from sleep medicine doctors to oral health doctors, dentists, to stress specialists, and to non-toxic living advocates, and skincare product line creators. And I mean, really just capturing so much of what falls under being healthy and thriving in good health. So that was one of the key reasons of putting this information out there in a one-stop shop, so people can access the summit. There's just a little like an opt-in video. If someone goes to healthyhabitstraining.com, then they can then a little page will pop up with a video from me just saying what the summit is about and why I'm doing this, and then there's just a spot on that page for them to enter their name and email, and then everything that they can expect for the summit. It has already started, though. It started June 1st. So it's already been going. Today's day 11. So the 11th interview went out today. Yours will be going out tomorrow. And so everyone is getting an interview each day sent to their email, whatever email they use to sign up.
So if you got cut off after they log into the landing page and enter their email address, and just they'll see it, they'll then receive in their email inbox the new interview that's being released that day. And
Yes.
if someone joins now or in a few days, will they be able to view the historical interviews that have already been released?
That's a good question. So this is a free series, so it's really just like a limited time offer or viewing kind of thing. I have been doing a replay, like a Sunday replay, at the end of the week, and replaying the interviews that aired that week. And then I'm thinking, and we'll see how time goes, but at the end of everything, doing a replay of all of them so people can catch the ones that they missed or rewatch ones that they loved. But the idea is, hey, come and get it while it's here. And they're available once I send out the interview for that day. That interview is up for 72 hours.
Awesome. And I'm sure you've learned so much in interviewing these experts.
Yes.
Have you been surprised? What have you been surprised by?
Oh gosh, I would say one of the biggest revelations is oral health, and how it is a gateway to the rest of our health. And I remember when COVID-19 started breaking out, and it just going all over the world. I kept thinking, gosh, if people can sneeze out these type of crazy bacteria and toxins, why aren't we focusing on the mouth? What is up in there that we need to clean up and really tackle, to help combat? And granted, I mean, I'm not an expert in any of this, so it was just my curiosity. And so then I started to learn, wow, no, I was onto the right thing. We have so much work to do in our mouths, and it is really something that's just connected to our whole body health. So, learning more of the good habits that I could implement in my life to tackle oral health, how most people leave this earth with all of their teeth. It's something I don't want to be in my future. So I think that was one of the biggest, that, and of course, just stress. Learning how I have to manage my stress. It doesn't matter. Life happens. Things are challenging. Even the summit itself is such an overload of information. So I really want people to just take it bit by bit. And I love your interview. I mean, you talk about if you love something, if it brings you joy, 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 starting small and taking it day by day. So I can't wait for people to hear your interview. I think what you shared is so inspiring, along with everyone else who's joined.
Yeah, I call it the
Yeah.
love test. If some,
The
yeah,
love test.
the love
Yes.
test. If you love it, hold on to it. There's so many other things you can detox.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I,
Yes.
uh, so just wrapping up, you are your own expert. You've been on your own journey, done a lot of work to help yourself, and now you've been interviewing so many other experts. What are
Mm-hmm.
like 3 to 5 practical non-toxic living tips that you can that you think would be really helpful for others?
Yeah. Well, I already mentioned actually a few of them. I would say, starting the morning, I would say starting your morning and ending your day with something that is relaxing. I've learned that I would start my day with such stress, waking up like, oh my gosh, all the to-do list. It's like stop, pause. The things that are ahead of you will still be there. So take a moment, do yoga, meditate. It doesn't have to be complicated or for very long, just a few minutes, 5 to 10. And then ending your night that way too. I would say taking care of you is one of the most important things, because how can you do for others when you're not here to do for yourself? I mean, so I would start there. And then that once you really start to build that within you, so many things fall in line, because you really do realize that, gosh, I don't want to pollute my body, or I want to be more aware of the things that I can remove from my environment. So I would say too is I'd say to watch electronic use, just to be mindful of how often you're on it, and just improve your relationship with social media and comparison, and um, just the judgment that can come with diving into the technical world. And then just with EMF exposure and just all of the electronics around us literally polluting our indoor air and our bodies. I would say be mindful of turning things off, unplugging. Definitely do that. Personal care products, I can't stress that enough. I mentioned how much my hair, my scalp changed when I swapped my products. My skin, I only use body butters and oils from the earth. And my skin, I don't struggle with extremely dry skin like I used to. Um, and I keep it simple. Hydration, I would say I didn't mention water. Getting a water filter, something that is, multiple stage filtered, that can really filter out as many of the, the pollutants in the water. Um, Gosh, and I already mentioned meditation, stress, but yeah, I would say that those are really big ones, and just Yeah, doing you, and yeah, living life.
How many stages of water filtration do you have?
Gosh, I don't know. My husband just ordered one. I actually have to see which one he ordered because it's like I don't know, 3 or 4 stage carbon activated carbon filter, I think, but that one went out and we weren't able to find the replacement. So he just ordered another one that I haven't even looked at, but he knows that it has to be, it has to, I think the one that he actually got is filtering fluoride out, which was harder to find for us since we live in an apartment. We can't have, like, I don't know, reverse osmosis or an entire home system or anything like that. So that's the goal. That's the goal one day.
And
Um,
what do you do with the flaxseed oil you mentioned earlier?
oh, the flaxseed gel. I just oh, okay. I have let's see. So I just put. I actually have a DIY video. It's gotten like I don't even know, tens of thousands of views on Pinterest. People love it. It's a really quick video that just shows me putting flax seeds in water, letting it boil, and then I just stir it until warm, and then I strain the flax seeds, keep the gel, and I add some essential oils. I mix them in a carrier oil of whatever I have on hand. So I'll do like a rosemary or a tea tree or something like that. And yeah, that's what I got my curls popping. So
It looks so
and my
soft and
scalp, yeah, it is. So it's very nourishing. And then I've even, if I don't put any essential oils, I'll use it on my skin. I love that. Yesterday's interview was about if you can't eat it, it shouldn't go on your skin. And that's really I think a good thing to have in mind is, hey, whatever you're putting on your skin is getting absorbed and into your bloodstream. And so you should care. You should care. I would say my last tip is laughter.
very
You can't,
important.
it is find the beauty and laugh at yourself. I do it so much. It is powerful. It's powerful. So take
Well,
advantage of the things that are free.
yes, I agree wholeheartedly. For those who are listening and
Oh,
can't see Dominique, she is a glowing, beautiful, like your skin looks amazing. I mean, you are inspiring for healthy, clean living. Thank you for taking the
thank
time to
you.
share your story with us for the Healthy Home Habits Summit. And please repeat again,
Yes.
what's the URL?
Yes. Okay. It's healthyhabitstraining.com. And if you go there, then you'll see that page with my face and a video, and you can enter your name and email to sign up. And then you'll have to start from where we are. So we're at day 11, but that's okay because you'll still be able to catch up on a replay day and definitely be able to check out Sophia's interview. I'm at My Instagram is at Domo underscore explores. So that's DOMO underscore explores, EXPLORES. And then my Facebook, I'm going to have to, it's at EOH Explorations. So that's EOH Explorations. And that's all one word. And yeah, that's about it.
Okay, so you'll share with me. I'll also have in these podcast show notes the URL,
Yes.
the social handle
Yes.
names. So if
Yes.
anyone is driving or commuting and they can't write it down, check out the podcast show notes at nontoxicliving.tips.
Yep.
And thank you again, Dominique. It's been a real pleasure getting to know you. A lot of people reach out to me, and I can't say yes to everything, but there was something about you that was really impressive that stood out. And I liked you immediately after our like upon hello. You just glow even over the telephone.
Oh my
So
God,
I
thank
just
you.
wanted you to know that among a lot of people that reached out, you just stood out.
Wow, thank you so much. And you are, I've said it before, just radiating positivity, and I feel the love through the phone. I'm so grateful that even mention doing this. This is my first live, by the way. Hey, live
Not
fam.
so scary. The first time is the most scary, and just keep trying new things, and you'll be more brave and empowered and fluid in your own skin.
Yeah.
So, thank you for
Yes,
taking the
yes,
leap.
yes, of course. Thanks, and we'll be in touch.
We'll be in touch. Take care.
Okay. Bye,
Bye.
Sophia.